Okay, so here, as you can see, black is now threatening to push b4. And the best way to continue this game is simply by capturing this knight on f6, which will create a double pawn structure. But instead, here white decides to castle alongside, a very courageous move by white, because in this position, most people will develop his light square bishop first, and then they decides to castle kingside. But as you can see, black is now marching his pawn towards the queen side, which looks very risky, because in the next move, now Kasparov immediately goes for b4, attacking this knight. But if you think deeply, you can see that that's not a big threat. Yes, black is attacking this knight, but don't forget that white pieces are more active than black, because in the next move, now white immediately pushed e5, which first of all attacks this knight and also creates a discover attack on this rook. But here Kasparov then brings his bishop to b7, attacking this queen. But now comes the most interesting part of this game, because in this position, here Georgiev sacrificed his knight by knight to b5. He sacrificed his knight, attacking the black queen. But why? I mean, black can simply capture this with the a pawn, which actually happens in the game, and which also opens this a file for this rook. But before that, now comes bishop takes b5 check. And only the best way to defend this is simply knight at b goes to d7. But instead, here Kasparov made a mistake by bringing this another knight to d7, and that's a mistake because now in this position here white sacrificed his another knight by knight takes e6, which also targets this queen. And I think most of you will get the idea. The main idea is not to give a check from this h5 square, because that would be a mistake, since now black can simply push g6, attacking this queen. And suppose if queen goes to g4, since this this e6 pawn is attacked, so black can easily guard this by bringing his king to f7. And now you can see everything is well protected and black is better due to the material advantage. Okay, so in the actual game after this move, so that's why the main idea is not to give a check, it is to bring this queen to h3, targeting this pawn on e6, and Kasparov now defends it by his king. And now some of you might be thinking that why this position is better for white. I mean, previously, let me go back to this move. Previously we saw that in this position this is winning for black, but the main defense is this pawn on g6. And guys, that's the main reason for black better position. Basically this pawn on g6 was covering this important f5 and h5 squares, which was prevented from which basically prevents this queen from entering to this h5 and f5 square. But now in this position, now you can see this pawn is on its original place, and this h5 and f5 square is now no longer covered. So that's why here white can simply goes for the move f5, which he actually played in this game, attacking this pawn on e6. And now it's better for black to just capture this pawn, but instead here Kasparov goes for bishop to e4, threatening to checkmate white, but white simply goes for Okay, so now you can see here white is threatening to capture this knight, and the best way to defend this is simply bringing this light square bishop to c5, which will target this queen as well as which also places this knight to a better position. But instead here Kasparov decides to capture this pawn, capturing this pawn on c2, which stops this knight capture, because if we capture this knight, then you can see this queen is giving a discover check, but black can simply capture this with a discover check. So that's why here he forgets that white can play this amazing counter move, Basically, here white can continue this game by capturing this pawn on d6, attacking this queen, and suppose if bishop takes d6, now comes queen takes c2. Okay, asking for queen exchange, queen takes c2 check, king takes c2, and yup, that's all. You can see this advanced pawn of white. But in the actual game, after the move bishop takes this, c2, here white decides to capture this bishop first. And basically, this move is very important for black because suppose if black becomes greedy and he decides to capture this pawn, then white can simply bring his rook to e6, supported by this bishop, and you can see no one can protect this knight. A good move by white, covering this c file so that this king cannot enter. And in this position, Garry Kasparov resigned. This is because now clearly you can see white has two pawns supported by this strong rook, this strong bishop, and this king. And let's suppose if suppose knight to e4 attacking this rook to c7, knight to d6. If he gets closer to our pawns, king to d3, a6, king to e4, a7, rook to e8, rook takes d6, rook to a8, bishop to d4. Okay, king to d3, b5, king to c4, b6, king to d3, and finally b7. And yeah, that's all. This is your host Bison signing off. Bye bye.